I don't know if you guys agree, but I think what got him the most was the internal fighting that he just.
Yes, 100%.
I think
the nonsense, the bullshit, the stupidity,
like the stuff that like that he would like call and complain about. That was mostly that he's like, why are we doing this to ourselves?
Yeah.
And I think he was getting burned out on that. I think that would be fair to say. I think that provides a lesson, that we just not in a sort of bullshit way. We need to be kinder to each other, but like if we want to win, we need to be kinder to each other. We want to be like a space that feels inviting, and I think that was one of the things that he wanted to do. Probably from growing up nerdy and interested in like Thomas Sankara, and then the particular micro politics of the ANC in the 80s. I think like he understood that this could be an arcane thing and that he wanted to popularize it. And that's why I think that's why the show was so effective. And one of the reasons that he was able to connect with so many people in a broad audience is he was really in that like liminal space between like nerdy dweeb who knows everything plus like guy who could make jokes about Obama. And I think that was a really useful skill. And that's sort of, I mean, Katie, you're doing it, Nando, you're doing it as well. But like, I think that's the space he was operating in. And that's one of the reasons. And what he did, I think that was unique was the internationalism. And I think like that, that sort of like triple threat of like being empathetic, really caring about the world, but able to be like intellectual and funny is like what made TMBS unique. And it's like it's a void in sort of the left intellectual world right now. Michael was more of an intellectual, or at least of an intellectual cast of mind than he was anything else.
Yeah.
That was a really unique space, even if he was a professional broadcaster.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again. You said he was more of an intellectual.
He had an intellectual cast of mind. I think that's what he brought. That's why he would have like people, frankly, like me who do like extremely arcane things. I was shocked that he wanted me on the show, but he had that like intellectual interest to like think it was important to bring arcane things.
Yeah, like if I was hosting my own show like that, I would never invite you on.
Never. No
way.
I would invite me.
How did you guys meet? Like, so Nando, he wrote to you, Nando, about Spain stuff because he saw, was it
me and Mike? Yeah, he saw me on Dead Pundits, Adam Proctor's show. It was when
probably heard you on mine before, but yeah.
What?
He probably heard you on mine first.
He probably did, but I think he saw what Adam Proctor had me on to talk about the fucking Catalunya thing that when it was going down big, and it was like front page news all over the world, and all of a sudden I was kind of like the only Spain person in America. So he had me on. He wanted to have me on, and that was it, and he was very like, rereading the DMs it's just like heartbreaking because he was like, hey man, I have this show. Like, like he was just like like a little kid, kind of really humble. And like, I hope you like it. I hope it's like, I hope it's fun. Like if you want to check out some other episodes, like, I hope you like it. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, oh, like at the time I was probably like, yeah, okay, I'll check out your little show, but yeah, that's how we met. He just had me on TMBS to talk about Spain, and then I've been on a bunch of times since. But yeah, and
I basically had published a book, and our mutual friend Christy Thornton just put us in contact. Yeah, so if you know Christy, so she put us in contact, and I'm like, hey, I've got this thing, and he's like, yeah, let's talk about it. I sent him the book.
We froze him. We lost him. Oh well. Yeah, that's what you get.
Hey,
we lost you.
You're back.
This goddamn internet. What is wrong with this fucking city? Nando,
you get for being a traitor, a coast traitor.
No, it's not wrong. But so he had interviewed me, and I never thought that I would hear from him again. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, "You want to come on and talk about foreign affairs?" And then from then on, I was just making regular appearances. Whenever I was in New York, I hung out with him. We talked every day. We made like various events, and so it was just like he really made an effort. I mean, as you guys know, it's hard to make friends as you get older.
Yeah,
there's just natural circumstances, and he's one of my only adult friends. Nando, you too. But yeah, he was just such a guy who really sort of built that out, and it was really a special relationship. And it was cool. Like he was associated with the Majority Report. He had this cool show. It was also fun to be friends. Everyone liked Michael, and that was a really cool thing to like. He really was at a node at the center of the network.
Yeah, and Sam said something on Majority Report yesterday that like, so, and Katie, you actually have the same thing, but like most funny people, like a lot of funny people, you can't make them laugh, like, because they're like competitive, you know, in a way with humor. And like, if you say something funny, then they're not laughing. They're trying to think like, how can they one up it, you know? But like Mike wasn't like that. Like he like genuinely laughed all the time. And you know, Kyle Kalinske tweeted out a video compilation of just him laughing at Dave Rubin, and just like how genuinely he like laughed about it. You know, was great. You know, like and I remember like the time I made him laugh the most was we were on doing a post game of a show, and he was doing Chris Matthews and I was doing Chris Matthews, and we were doing Matthews to Matthews.
Nice.
But then I forgot why I started doing Bill Simmons, and he was doing Chris Matthews and I was doing Bill Simmons. And he had never heard me do a Bill Simmons or anything. Like it just came out of nowhere. And he was just like cracking up, and I was like, man, this is cool. Like, you know, he fucking likes my joke, you know?
Yeah.
He was very genuine in his love of like having his belief in that having a sense of humor is like is like one of the most important things, like more important than reading Capital, you know, by Marx. Was like, just fucking don't take yourself too seriously and be able to laugh. Because again, this world can be arcane and unwelcoming, and that's just the exact opposite of what we need to be. We have to be the exact opposite. We have to laugh because that's how you get people in, you know?
Yeah.
It's the only way.
It's a gateway drug.
It is a gateway drug, you know?
I mean, the humor, the like dressing okay, you know, whatever. I mean, all that stuff, it's the same thing. It's like, it really is actually, the irony is that it is really politics. It's like doing politics and mass politics. If you actually care about reaching people who aren't already in the fold, then you have to actually do those things.
Yeah.
You want to meet people where they're at. But Daniel, you're welcome to say, but I feel that there's either, is it a tech thing or maybe something you have to do, or I trying to read the room, but it's not a good Wi-Fi connection, so I can't tell.
Oh no, I'm just standing. But yeah, if it's streaming out, I'll probably go. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's fine. Yeah. We're not trying to kick you out. Just, you know, is there any last final thoughts you have? I mean, you can come on again. This isn't, you know.
No, of course, I'm not offended. I'm sorry that the internet's so bad. Just, I just wanted to emphasize again that Michael's internationalism and his humanism is, I just hope something that we could build on. And I think he'll be remembered, and I think that's important and a testament to what he did on this earth in the short time he had. So
But also, just before you go, you said that he sent you something he had written, and you're hoping it sees the light of day. Like, what's the process for that? Are you in touch with his family? Like, do you know other people who had the work that he sent?
I don't know who he has sent it to, but I've talked with editors, and we're going to talk with the family, obviously, I think, before anything is published. But yeah, I think it'll see the light of day. I think he would have wanted it to see the light of day. So hopefully, you know, we'll be able to do that. But yeah, I think it'll come out soon.
I mean, not the silver lining, that's not the right term at all, but it's like the nice thing, I guess, is that people can do, there's so much that can still be done, like that we know he wanted to have done, that we know he would have liked to have seen done. I mean, he's left, like, I mean, it's so weird to talk about him in the best sense, but he has left this like incredible archive. Like, people can listen to him, watch him, like transcribe stuff. I mean, there's like so much there, and it is really painful and sad and tragic and frustrating when something is cut short, you know, decades early. But it's also like, it's not a but. It is sad and it's tragic. There's also like, yeah, maybe there's no, forget that. I was just going to say.
Well, I think it's like he is the first one of our generation to go. I think it's making all of us who like have started this project within the last 5-10 years take a look back. And that's not a silver lining, but it could be a moment of clarity. And I think he would have wanted it to be, I think. a space where we think about things and look back at what we've done.
I mean, I guess that the silver lining or the reminder thing is that like it is amazing he did as much as he did. That's what it is. Like our saying like he had only just begun, and our saying like in the prime of life, and there was so it's true, and also like he achieved so much. And I mean, I think when you're in it, obviously you're like down, and we're living in a hard world, but it's like on some level, it's like I think maybe if he could stepping back, it's like just remarkable that he did do what he did.
The amount of people who've been tweeting at me, like saying things like, I was a huge Sam Harris fan until I found Michael's show on YouTube, or I was on the path to becoming alt-right until I found, you know what I mean? Like he was very committed to competing for those people. Like his competitive side and his ego was like, no, we cannot let these assholes own this shit. Like we need to compete for these people. Like, and it's like, again, and it came from, he never like made fun of their fans or anything like that. He made fun of them relentlessly, but he never made, like he understood that people gravitate towards certain things for a million reasons. It doesn't make them bad people. Like we're all in a very confusing world. There is no political education. There is, we're all kind of bombarded with propaganda since we were little kids. Like it's normal for someone to like watch a Ben Shapiro video on YouTube and be like, wow, that guy's making a lot of sense. Like he wanted to compete on that front head on, and the amount of people that he probably won over, or at least diverted away from that is a huge testament to his work and talent and things like that. And it was self-conscious. Like he wanted to do that. Like he wasn't just kind of like doing his show because like that's what he was. And he was like thinking like, if I'm a 17-year-old kid whose life is kind of shitty, how can I provide comfort, analysis, empowerment to that person so that they don't go down the wrong path?
Right.
And he was able to do it for a lot of people.
I don't know if he ever said this to you, but one time he's like, let Ben Shapiro come at me. Like I'm funnier and I'm smarter, and I think that we should all have that sort of attitude. Like we could beat these people.
Right.
It's wild that they're as successful as they are, and that, we can. And I think that Michael also had that message of hopefulness that we can win because we should win. And I think that's important too.
And I was hearing Waz on Sam's show saying that, he made him realize, like, that what did he say? Like, I used to think of like people in the white and people in the Midwest. I thought of them as like, I don't remember what the word was, like corn or something. I can't, but that like basically the divide and conquer thing. It's like the class there's class solidarity. There's no divisions. There's no like identity politics rifts among the ruling class. Right. There is among everyone else. And then we have to like see past that stuff. And I think that's really brave. And like, I know that you can get called toxic, and you can get called like Red Brown Alliance advocating for talking about class, or for encouraging people to have empathy for people who are,
like the sad thing is like,
or whatever. And that's just fucking first of all, good luck not doing it that way. Like not having those people part of the fucking coalition. But besides that, and I feel like I can't even say, I have to say it that way, but you know what? I care about those people. I do. I care about all people who are played and like have their own interests, are being duped. And I do. Yeah.
I mean, the last thing we texted about, me and him, was, some person on Twitter who was going after him for being like a Red Brown Alliance, some bullshit like that, and like, I just look at that and I'm like, what universe are you living in, man? Like what, how can you say, like, how can you believe that something like that? Like, that's just so obviously insane. And like, because Mike knew that, like, you needed to compete for those people.
Right, yeah.
You did. What are we going to do? Just like only talk to the good people?
I know. Yeah. No, it's I mean,
we'll lose every single fucking time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's related to like the clothing and the humor. It really is. It's another thing. I mean, it's different because this actually has, I think, there is an empathy and like a humanism and an empathy and a sense of justice that also relates to it. But putting that aside, which I think really did guide Michael a lot. And, Che Guevara's quote about, revolutionaries being driven by love. I mean, all that stuff is true. But like that aside, again, it's like, yeah, if you want to win, like you're going to have to do something besides urging people not urging people, chiding people for not checking their privilege.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good way to lose. If you want to lose, just do that.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, Daniel, what did you say? I cut you off, or we were.
No, Michael particularly didn't like that sort of language. He didn't like languages of exclusivity, and I think like another thing that emphasizes his inclusivity. Yeah. Why he brought so many people together and why he was so powerful. Again, I think you're right. Linked to his humanism and his empathy.
Yeah, the one of the last times we were together in the same place was in January or February. We did a Harvard for Bernie event, and I was on one panel, and then he was on the second panel, and I said something about cancel culture. I don't remember what. Oh my god, I can believe him. I'm gonna get. Anyway, this is a different time, but I said something about not cancel culture, about canceling. Something related to to solving racism by telling coal miners to check their privilege. But he said during his panel that, he was on with Cornel West and Phil Agnew and Isha Krishnaswamy. He said, I remember he's like, like Katie said with canceling people. And it was like this moment I remember. I was like, oh yeah, we should talk about this. Like, and then, that was the last time I saw him in person, which was not that long ago. It was pre-fucking Corona lockdown. But yeah. So January 28th. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. It sucks, man.
Yeah, it sucks. But I mean, imagine him 10 years ago looking like if you had told him he would have achieved
just having like Cornel West and Lula tweet about him.
Yeah, I know. And then of course
he would have loved it. It's like it's hard to overemphasize how much he would have loved the Lula tweet in particular.
Yeah,
like he loved it. It was like his man, like beyond. And I think it's such a testament to who he was that he achieved that. He got Lula knows who he was, in a real way, and I think that's a testament to the man.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Daniel, and come back on. We'll talk about your stuff and your books. Thanks, are you writing another book?
He's always writing a book.
Yeah.
What's your next book?
Always writing a book. Just write.
Always be writing.
It's gonna probably always be ABW. It's probably going to be on the major foreign policy thinkers, people like Chomsky, Fukuyama, analyzing all of their work and putting them in dialogue with each other.
You mean? Because I can get you Matt Carp.
Yeah, Brian, Matt, I know Matt well. The Carp.
Yeah.
Well, aren't you writing something about the Rand Corporation? I can't keep track of how many fucking books you're writing.
Yeah, so that one's hit a speed bump. We'll talk about that in person.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. Come back.
Well, thanks so much for having me on, Kate.
Yeah, of course.
See you soon. Bye.
Later.
Bye.